Hey there, Edye Edens, KLF, doing some deep dive here. And here at Kulkarni Law Firm, we want you to understand what's going on with the recent FDA pushback on accelerated gene therapy approvals. So if you're working in rare disease or gene therapy, accelerated approval can feel like crossing a massive finish line, as we all know, right? Years of R&D, breakthrough therapy designation, fast track, maybe even a priority review. And then you finally landed FDA approval. But here's the thing, accelerated approval isn't actually entirely the finish line. It's kind of just the beginning of the next adventure, right? And this is relevant because we're talking about what's happening in real time. So recently we saw Sarepta, their treatment for muscular dystrophy, as a perfect example. It was approved under an accelerated pathway and everyone celebrated, and rightfully so. But now you've got post-market safety concerns, and those are drawing enough scrutiny that you then look at your confirmatory trials and those haven't fully delivered, and suddenly FDA is reevaluating this particular test article and approval. And it's not just the drug, right? So that's not the only piece of it. It's the entire process for an accelerated approval in any type of high risk, high cost area, especially like gene therapy. This shift means sponsors need to think differently about what does approval really actually mean. So here's where we're seeing at Kulkarni Law Firm, clients actually running into some trouble. So first and foremost is confirmatory trials that are lagging or drifting, scope creeping from your original commitments. We also see safety monitoring plans that aren't updating as real-world data is coming in. And we're seeing communication gaps, which isn't new information, but still just as dangerous as it's always been, whether that's with the FDA, investigators, patients, or across the spectrum. And sometimes, to be fair, your internal teams are treating post-approval a little bit like a wind down instead of a ramp up, right? So all of this happening at the same time creates an issue.
Enjoying our content? We'd love to hear more. Please like, comment, share, and find more.
We want you to be ready. That's what we want for our clients, because right now the FDA is asking, look, is this drug still safe based on real world use? Are you actually staying in line with what your trial commitments were? And if not, if the answer to any of that is no, how quickly are you fixing it? And you've got to have those answers before somebody shows up at your door and before the FDA comes and asks you. What we're suggesting, and the practical advice I want you to take away from this, is one, make sure you're designing smart, flexible governance plans that are going to be able to evolve and move with your data. This is not the moment for you to create something in concrete. Two, really make sure that you understand how to interact with the FDA. Advising on FDA engagement goes a long way, especially when concerns have already been raised. Three, manage the legal implications of confirmatory trials that underdeliver, right? You've got to be prepared for that as a possibility. So be ahead of that in the actual regulatory planning. And then make sure you're preparing your sponsors, your sites, all of your stakeholders, wherever you sit in the industry, for public and regulatory and payer conversations that will inevitably follow approval. It's not that you have to defend your approval, but you are going to have to strengthen it as you move forward in your promotional stages. So if you're bringing a therapy to market, especially through an accelerated pathway, you've already done the hardest part. But please, please, please make sure that what you do next is just as strong. You want to make sure that, because these therapies deserve long-term success, that your team is setting yourself up for long-term success to get ahead of risk and not have to react to it. Thanks so much. Edye Edens, Kulkarni Law Firm.
Call, click, or email